Welcome to the outside of the shop tour. This is where everything starts, right here on this portable bandsaw mill I'm sitting on. And so what we like to do is take you around the other half of our operation, or can I say the first half of our operation, so you get an idea of what it takes and what machines we use to turn logs into lumber. We'll briefly go over how we source our logs. I'll show you a small log yard on the itty bitty bit of property that we do have here in beautiful Tacoma, Washington. We're right up from downtown Tacoma. And so what I do and where I do it is unique in the fact that you wouldn't expect us to be here, but we make it work. We work with all of our neighbors quite well. We offer free firewood. We turn all of our offcuts into firewood to heat our own home, which is also odd in the middle of a city. But sit back, relax, and take a view of the outside of our operation. We run a Sequoia Mills SM136. It has a log capacity of 40 inches and a cut capacity of 36 inches. Underneath that hood is where we change the blades. You have 19-inch band wheels, or how Cook's saw would say it, a band wheel. I love the way that guy says that. We also run Cook saw blade guides, one for each side, and we always have spares on hand. The blades that we run are Wood-Mizer double hard and sometimes Wood-Mizer silver tips, but typically we run a 10-degree double hard blade from Wood-Mizer. We've gotten excellent life out of these, and for the price, you can't beat them. Right here we have the hand winch, which we use to guide the carriage down. Then you have the up and down toggle to the winch on top, followed by the lever for our lubrication system. We typically run water mixed with dish soap. Right here you see we have a 20 horsepower Predator motor, a different gas tank. We lost the one on a freeway before, and so we upgraded to a Honda pressure washer gas tank. It's vented, so we don't have to worry about collapse, and it holds about 2.5 gallons of fuel. Right here on the top, this is the system that raises the power head up and down. It's powered by a 3,500-pound winch and the hand control right there on the rail that you saw previously. As it spins, it raises the power head up and goes down. We use the T-handle to tension the blade, and there's a little red mark that marks where you need to be at. Right here you see where the carriage rides on the angle iron. You also have the pulley for the hand crank system that goes to the back. And then you have the stops that we bolt on to prevent the power head from moving while in transit to location and just to keep it still. Right here we have the log stops. There's 4 of them on this unit. We can always add more, but you raise them up and then you push them down as you mill, or if you flip it for a cant, you can put them down all the way. This right here would be a pinch or a log holder. Simple design, just back it out, smack it on the base, and it pinches the log to the log stops. We have a 20-foot bed, cut capacity 17.5 feet. Power head takes up some of that in the front. We also have leveling legs. My plan is to weld on some brackets to do more of a hand crank leveling leg than these that are more of a drop down system. We haven't had any issues with these ever sliding up, but to make for a quicker setup time and breakdown time, we definitely want to add a hand crank system. We load the logs on the mill via par buckling. That's where you run the cable over the log and it will roll it up via the winch. Here's a wide log that we made a cant cut so we could fit it within the 36-inch wide blade guides of the mill. So about 20 yards away from the mill, we have our small log yard. This is where we get logs dropped by land clearing companies such as this right here, homeowners, and arborists. We do what we can to save as many trees as possible. So all these are salvage trees destined to come down to build houses. So we try to repurpose all of these and turn them into usable lumber that we can use for other things. All the offcuts we actually turn into firewood and give it to our neighbors and use it to heat our own home, so nothing goes to waste. So this right here is how we started. This is an Alaskan chainsaw mill. This is the first thing we used to mill slabs and to mill lumber to build what we have now and what we've grown from. This is our 8-foot chainsaw mill. We have the Gramberg supports and the Gramberg arms to hold the bar, just because we needed something a little more sturdy and a company we could trust. However, building the frame yourself saves you a ton of money. And we do have the MS880 power head for our 5-foot bars. We don't have an 8-foot bar. We haven't needed an 8-foot bar, but at some point in time, I know we're gonna need it. and we'll buy it. And that's why we built this guy bigger than what we can accept now, because at one point in time, someone's gonna have a tree that's over 5 feet and we want to be able to handle it. So all we gotta do is buy the bar. We have plenty of chain to make up for that bar. So we're hoping one day that somebody has an 8-foot tree, because that would just be amazing. A little background on this guy. It is slow, and talk about rough on your body. This thing beats you up, but it has a capability of having a length that does not matter. You can go however long you need to, as long as you have a reference, like a straight flat reference. You can go for 30, 45 feet. The reason why I bought this was a customer not too far from us had a 25-foot long tree, and we milled it in 25-foot long sections, or 25-foot long slabs. Sorry about that. It was my very first mill job, and that is the reason why I bought that power head and the reason why we set this up. They were beautiful slabs. They're now part of the sandbar and grill for their entire bar top, which is amazing. That's down there off Marine View Drive in Tacoma. So this has been the starting point, and we still mill with this quite frequently. We always get people messaging us about large cedars or large oaks, and something that's too big to get on a bandsaw. Now, our hopes for our company is to buy a wood miser, but not like an LT40. There's a guy on the East Coast, I forget the exact model, I forget his name, but he has a large wood miser that's specifically for slabbing, that's on top of a trailer that is, you can take from here to there. I think it'll go over 5 feet wide, but that's something that we're hoping to do the exact same thing, but offer on this side of the coast versus just staying on the East Coast. Welcome to our kiln, the fourth step in the outside operation. It goes, logs get dropped, they get milled, they get stacked for air drying, and then they make their way in here to finalize the drying process, set the sap, and drop the moisture content down to about 8%. Sometimes we'll take them out at 9%, but it's within the ballpark to make usable furniture. So some specs on our dehumidification kiln is we can fit 12.5-foot long material. The width is about 10 feet. We can go up about, 4 feet before we're totally maxed out. We run 3 fans on the baffle across the top. So right up here, the pendulum, right up here at the top, which will block air from going just over the top. You block it on the top of the stack, and so you force it in a convection style all the way through, and you're forcing that dry, hot air from the top through the stack of wood to the other side, and this is where it picks up all that moisture. And our commercial dehumidifier, we run a dry EAZ Evolution, which is a commercial grade dehumidifier versus one you find in your house. So we're able to suck all the moisture out the air or mitigate it to a point that is good for the wood drying process. Now, it's key to have something like this versus the one that you do in your house, because this will keep pulling out moisture, or one in your house won't get to the point, or won't help get the wood to the point that is beneficial for making furniture. Now, how do we heat this unit? We have the sun, obviously, and we also have milk house heaters. Now, the nice thing about where we're located, there's no trees around us since we're in the middle of a city, and the sun can keep this unit at 130 to 140 by itself for pretty much spring, summer, and the early half of fall. And at night it will dip down a little bit to say like 120, but still in the good range of drying lumber. And now if we see it go too high, or we're taking out too much moisture, we can crack open the door to let some of that heat out, or we'll turn off the dehumidifier just to make sure we're not drying too quickly and building tension in our wood. Welcome to our new kiln. It is a one-way shipping container, and it's got doors on both ends, so you can load from one end and unload from the other, which is we're hoping is gonna be very beneficial. And we can also shrink down per kiln size and use the back half of it, whatever we're not using at that time for storage or what have you, just so we can shrink the area or the size of the container down, just to make sure that we're not heating dead air, which obviously is not very efficient. Now, the plan for this is to fully insulate it, floor, wall, ceiling, and then frame on the inside of that. That way it pushes all the insulation against the walls, the ceiling, and the floor. And then we can also run a pendulum, which we're probably gonna run 6 or so fans all the way down the center, just like the other one. We have experience running these style of kilns, so I know what to expect. Now, the backbone is going to be this 7000 XLI by Dry EAZ. The nice thing about this one is their largest model, and it is Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capable. It gives you a ton of graphs, air inlet, air outlet temperatures, and you can see exactly what's going on inside this chamber without coming into this chamber. And we'll be able to track what's going on inside of here on a, like a day-by-day basis. I think it goes down to an hour-by-hour basis, which is only going to better help us produce better material for not only ourselves, but for customers as well. And I think we're still going to run the smaller kiln and use that for customer material and oddball sizes and an overflow from this one. If this one's totally filled up, we can push some stuff into that one. We've had numerous customers come and use our CNC machine to flatten large slabs. Come to find out, as we move it in, we always check the moisture, and their stuff might be at 35. They bought it off Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. They don't really know what it's at. They were told it was dry, but we've had that happen numerous times. And so we're going to have space in that one to dry those specific style of slabs versus this one, which is going to be more dedicated just for our slabs. If we get customer slabs that are too long to fit in our other one, we'll put them in this one, but we're going to make this more of a regulatory kiln cycle, make it a perfect kiln schedule, and just keep running stuff through this one predominantly. I hope to see growth through the years. Like I said in my last video, I wish I started this sooner, but where we've come and to where we are now, it's been leaps and bounds, and I can only imagine another 5 years from now, we probably won't be in this location. Hopefully we'll have something a little bit more space, because we're running out of space. We are packed everywhere to the gills, and I still want to grow, and we'll see where that takes us and the journey in the end of everything. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I think a word from our CEO is coming up. So stay tuned for that.
Like and subscribe to this channel.